Oh, people, this is Power here to review the Kamen Rider Zi-O DX Mirai Driver Set. So as you can see by this giant box, this is the driver that the set that consists of the what's the word? The gosh, I didn't think of it. Essentially this set comprises of that's the word. Comprises of a base belt, so then you can emulate the four Mirai Riders that were present within the series. So obviously the front here we have Shinobi and Quiz, with the Shinobi driver and the Quiz driver. As you can see, AD 2022 and AD 2040. And then if we turn this around, we get my preferred pair. Here we have Kikai and Ginga with the Kikai driver, AD 2121, and the Ginga driver, AD question mark, because he's from space. I really do like this back-to-back thing they have going for it. Just because, just to like actually present the four riders. So here's the top: Shinobi, Quiz, Kikai, and Ginga. The bottom actually has this nice thing of dating them all except for Ginga and the information. Here is Quiz and Shinobi. Their, initial press images. Except for Ginga, because him they actually took pictures of. Kikai is actually a different image, and there's Ginga. So, yeah, this is an extremely large box. So, let's get everything out, because that's also a lot too. Okay, so here's just the Mirai driver itself. And just to go over, these straps are exactly the same as the Jiku driver, as this is literally just a Jiku driver recolor. I should have probably said that after I put the belt on. But anyways, just putting the belt on is pretty simple. Just it's okay. This one just decided to slide through. But yeah, as you can see, like the colors are just very plain overall, just because it's like just very like quick recolor and such. Comparing this with the Jiku driver straps, the only difference are the belt clips itself, because it's to match the color they went with belt instead of, this silver. And I can't tell if the straps are different. I know this is the same. The straps actually seem darker than these ones. But other than that, they're essentially the same strap. And here's the base toy, the Mirai driver. It's a hollow Jiku driver. For sure, because obviously this lost all the mechanics that had. Because one, you cannot press this down. You can't press any of the buttons that were present. Like, they're there, and you can move them around, because obviously they're there to like fill out space, but you can't press it, obviously, unless you unscrew it and actually add those springs back. So yeah, that's it. It's just a gray Jiku driver, which is yeah, it's boring, but you know, cutting costs and such, so I can't really blame them. Obviously, it's still going to have this because it's just a repaint. And interesting note is that all the extra plastic they use is purple, which we will look at later, because you can somewhat see right here. But I'm actually surprised that there was actually like placeholder plastic for this. And obviously here they got rid of the Zi-O logo and just filled it in with some. They just filled it in because, you know, this doesn't make sense, although mine has already been scratching off. And one last note, you couldn't tell already, you cannot load in ride watches because they distinctively got rid of the tracks, despite them having the button filled here. But you can't slot in because obviously you need these for the track. I think so. Like, you can see you can't slot in the ride watch because of this. So, no fun. Anyways, yeah, that's essentially it for the Mirai driver. Let's actually move on with our components. So here are the core components for the Mirai driver. So moving each piece out, and it's a mess. So here's Shinobi's piece for the Mirai driver, the Shuriken starter, and essentially where the purple plastic came from. Overall, the paint is amazing. I love the metallic purple on here. It just looks pretty neat. And here's the Shuriken itself. It's painted silver, still purple in the back. Obviously, you spin it for its gimmick. It's in this interesting notch. It works really interestingly because like it only works on one spin cycle, then it'll stop. However, as we're gonna see, spinning it's not actually that easy, like getting that to like stop, just because of how it just depends how you spin it, I guess. You have to spin it just right, which is kind of an issue. But other than that, it's pretty simple. Obviously, you hold it from here, and you just do that and such. So, yeah, the Shinobi starter, it's pretty simple, but it's fun. Gosh. Now, next up, we got quiz. First of all, we got the RB vibration. I think that's what it's called. I forgot to check. But I just want to call it the Rube vibration. But it doesn't have the slash. This is simply the thing that you're gonna load the quiz topper, which you actually get both modes, the symbolic mode and the question mode. So, there were just like giant pieces of plastic with the question mark being gigantic, because obviously, like, if you don't remember, it starts off as this and then it expands into a question mark. You just simply slot that in like so, and then yeah, so that's essentially it for quiz. Next up, we got obviously my favorite, Kikai. He comes in two pieces. We got the Spanner Nerd, and then the Screwer, I believe. What does the wiki say? Yeah, the Spannerder and the Screwder. So, obviously, you just simply snap those two together and make that. Yeah, that's essentially it. Last but not least, we got Gingas. Initially with this toy, they actually just named it the Ginga Driver unit, just because I guess they didn't really have a name for it. But according to the wiki, this is the Ginga scope. So, just a globe that you just press. Nothing really much to it, but again, I guess I'm forgetting to say this with all of them. They all have nice paint. The metallic silver is nice, and the gold or the bronze here. This thing has nice metallic yellow, and I really like this gradient between the red, blue, and white and such. So yeah, let's bring in the Mirai driver and start this. So with the Mirai driver, just simply switch it on like so. It still requires 3 AAA batteries because the original one did. You just get the insertion sound for the ride watch, which is weird. Obviously you can't do anything with it by itself because this thing is technically only blank for half of the riders. So obviously we're going to start with Shinobi. So simply just slot the Shinobi starter, Shuriken starter at the center, like so. So do that entire standby, which technically was supposed to occur right when he summons the belt, obviously, because it wouldn't know that. So just to transform, just spin the Shuriken. So there we get the transformation for Kamen Rider Shinobi, and here we have the Shinobi driver now, which, but yeah, obviously it's not going to change anything, but frontal-wise, it's interesting, I'll say. I do really like just this one, like, giant piece on the side. I don't know why that's intriguing to me, but it would have been cool if it was on both sides, but oh well, you need a way to hold it. And we actually do have additional sounds, at least up to 7 with Shinobi. That's the summoning of his sword. I don't remember what that one was. Obviously, these are techniques that he does. And that's his finisher. However, he has, I want to say, at least 4 more additional sounds because obviously Shinobi actually had his own miniseries. Flame Nimpo. That one was a plot one. I don't remember. I personally don't remember that one. I feel like I don't want to say that's a duplication one because Hatari had that one, but I think after that it'll cycle back. Yeah, that's it. So to essentially deactivate the transformation, just simply pull it off. There we actually get the deactivation sound for Shinobi. So putting this to the side. Now let's take the RB vibration and slot it in the center. Gosh. The standby for the quiz driver starts, and now we just take the question mode of the quiz topper and slot it in. And now we have, first of all, there's the transformation for quiz. It's nice that it's a female announcer, because Ryder barely has that. Technically, the first time that we had that with Ryder is with the Emotional Dragon Wonder Ride book. But, yeah, just like what I was saying with, like, this thing, I do like how it actually fills out, you know, the one side of the Ginga driver, so then you can't tell it's a Ginga driver. But I really like, I just really like this overall. The colors, I feel like the colors here just work a lot more, probably because they were probably purposely in the same colors as the Mirai driver, but, you know, I like it. It's interesting. Obviously there's nothing much else you can do with this besides taking it off, which the transformation sound indicates to switch it to the symbolic mode and slot it down again. And there you get the finisher, the final quiz shock. I forgot. But essentially, when you take it off, it's going to cycle back to the transformation. Final quiz flash. Like when you take it off, essentially it's just going to do the finisher. That's what I meant. So technically, to deactivate things, just take it off. You know, we'll just do the ride watch deactivation, sadly. And you can plug this in automatically just to do the transformation, because it will press the button. So next up, we have the spinner and the screwder. We combine the two together. Obviously, Kikai does have a standby, but you can't activate that because there's no way of doing that. And just simply slot the screwder within the belt. And there we go with the transformation of Kamen Rider Kikai, which I really like. And again, just like with Quiz, I just like how they actually did try to make this match up with the color scheme of the Mirai driver. Now, like, obviously, like, this thing just kind of sticks out, but honestly, I just like the simplicity of this, like, because it, you know, it's just like across the tools. That's the first finisher, but other than that, like, I think, like, yeah, despite this one being my absolute favorite, it also just, I guess, has to be my least favorite too. I don't know, I'm weird like that. Anyways, let me just, I can't do that again. So the first finisher, that was Kikai de Haikaida, which is an obvious pun for Kikaider and Hakaider, which I just think is absolutely funny. Second finisher, you have to press the entire, like, unit down, or the face down. Ultimate finish, and last but not least, then you get the third final finisher, Full Metal The End. And I guess just to also go on with the design too, I really like how with like these little designs on the spanner, this is spanner, the screwder, it actually aligns itself with these lines here on the Ginga driver, so I think that's pretty smart. And obviously you don't need this thing to activate the sound. Simply take it off. And then last but not least, the Ginga scope. Just simply, again, just kind of like Ginga, just slap it on. I meant Kikai, but there we get the transformation for Ginga, which obviously wasn't ever in show, because the in-show one is actually the next sound. So at first I thought it was odd that they included that, because I was like, well, you can just get that with the Mirai watch, but because when I actually did watch the show, yeah, if you remember, that's how, like, when Ginga arrived, it actually played the instrumental of his transformation. So that's actually a neat inclusion. And just like Kikai has 3 finishers, gigantic Ginga, and here's my favorite finisher of all time, Dynamite Sunshine. And last but not least, Strikes of Planet 9, and that was the only finisher he didn't do. If you couldn't tell, each of those finishers were to represent each of the faces of the Ginga Mirai watch. So Gigantic Ginga was for, you know, just Ginga finally. Dynamite Sunshine for Zi-O, and Strikes of Planet 9 for Waxay. And then it just cycles back to the transport finishers. And you just simply take that off. So yeah, that's actually essentially it for the Mirai driver. Obviously, for how all of this works, is that there's these 4 obvious pins, to which, just like most things, this is a 7-pin combination, because this one actually doesn't do anything. This is the thing that gets pressed when these ones are pressed. So this first one is Kikai, the second one, Quiz, the third one is Shinobi, and then you might be wondering, well, we got 4 out of the 7 sounds, so let's hear them all. So I actually don't have another toothpick. So if you want to, so for the first 2, nothing, and it knows that there's nothing programmed. The second and third ones, that's Ginga. The first and third, nothing. And if I had to, all 3, nothing. So, yeah, despite there being like 3 more available sounds they could have done, they decided to leave those blank. Thus, we're never getting a Hatari. I don't get it. And also, just one more thing I do want to touch upon. You can indeed put these on the Ginga driver, just not on clearance, because obviously there's a gap here for these to solely fit on comfortably, and because the Ginga driver still has these like random like holes in here, I don't think it was planned that they're going to slap anything on, but you can indeed like. Okay, Ginga, I don't think so. Like, there you put Ginga. I don't recommend this just because you might damage the screen. So just do it lightly. Don't like just don't actually attempt, or not attempt. You can attempt, but like I don't know. Don't be like, oh, why is it not working? And then like just dent your screen or something like that. Like they all fit, just not well because that that hole isn't there. But yeah, so that's essentially it for the Mirai Driver Set. And overall, I think it's an alright set at best. It's really optional. Excuse me. This is a really optional driver set to pick up overall. Just because, like, it's just based off of the 4 main Mirai Riders we saw in show. Like was said before, which I think is kind of stupid, they didn't include Hatari, despite them adding Ginga later on, because I think I forgot to say this, but Ginga initially wasn't a part of the lineup because obviously they didn't want to spoil it. So, like, I think they were already producing this with Ginga in mind. And then, like, obviously they had to hold him off, and then when he actually did debut in the show, they're like, oh, look, Ginga's here, and such. I don't know why I took that out of frame. So it's just like, okay, that's cool and all, but I think it would have been nice if Hatari was actually included within this, just because, like, you guys have like 3 more unused pin sets. You might as well include him. But other than that, this set is just kind of like, it's fun, definitely, just because of like, oh look, like, just because they do a good job at actually being distinctive. Like, Shinobi, you spin it. Quiz, you like load things in, and then Kikai and Ginga kind of like they're kind of the same because you just press the thing in. But I guess with like they're different in some way because with Kikai it's the entire thing, and Ginga it's a section. So I guess that's how they're trying to like get away with that, but honestly, other than that, it's just I personally don't think you need this unless you're really hardcore about collecting belts and such. Or if you actually want the actual transformations of these riders, then I do recommend this. But obviously, this thing's not gonna like be able to like utilize ride watches or anything like that. Like this thing is like completely like standalone-ish. And as to how much I got this for, it was like $22, but I got it like heavily used, like off of AmiAmi, I believe. Cause I assume that, cause typically with like the wizard stuff I've gotten off of them, they were listed as used, but then I got them new and such. So I was kind of assuming the same for this one, but I guess because this is a new release that it was actually true to its word. So like yeah, other than that, it's just like that's how much I recommend this for. This is like a $25, like $25 to $30 toy, because it's just like it just doesn't do much. I guess if I had to say, if you did pre-order this right away, and like obviously you did pre-order this right away, then obviously you have a better say than what I can, because you pre-ordered it because you were passionate about this and such, and like you were like, I need this and such. Well, with me, I decided to hold off and then like get it for way cheaper, so I have no say at all of like what your thoughts on it were, like your point of it is. But it's just like, you know, for anyone that wants to get it after, I recommend trying to get this thing for like $25 to $30. Like, luckily the cheapest, or like, luckily the most expensive it is at is $50, which isn't bad. However, as I said before, like the box is really big, so shipping's going to be a pain. So that's the catch. So personally, if you actually don't mind the box, just try to find this thing loose. It's not that much, and it's significantly cheaper. I honestly found the box to be stupidly packed, just because I think they could have honestly just condensed it. I don't know why they made it so huge. Because let me quickly compare this with, like, you know, the typical boxes. Yeah, it's like double the size. It might be because of the Shinobi starter, but whoops. I don't know. I just felt like the box was like way too big for this, but yeah, so that's essentially it for this review. I guess to summarize that, this doesn't come with the ride watches, so it's not necessary. So this is PowerRider, and I'll leave you people. Bye.